here we are to talk about Chainlink and especially the new launch of Chainlink, the CRE. So let's go forward. I am Solange Gueiros, DevRel, and this is Andrej.
My name is Andrej Rakic.
Hello, my name's Harry.
And welcome. Here we are. This is the most important slide for you, so you have 30 seconds to get the presentation because everything is inside this presentation. It will be streamed as well, but if you get this now, it will be better for you. Okay. Great. And let's talk first about our Chainlink bounties. So what we have here? First, we have the CRE. I know that you are curious about CRE. We are doing something live here in a few minutes. But CRE, we have workflows, and the 3 best projects building workflows, we win 3,000 each. And also, if you are using any other Chainlink services, you can win 2,000 each, and maybe we can combine the bounties, and you must do a on-chain transaction to do that. And also, it's important to you if you think in using functions or automation, please use a CRE. That will be better than them now, okay? And let's talk about Chainlink. Chainlink, what's Chainlink? So Chainlink are oracles, connections to any kind of data sources or external resources. And all of these are done using decentralized oracle network. And important to say that Chainlink is not a blockchain. Are decentralized networks, but these services are deployed in many blockchains, different chains. And this. I know that you are curious. We just launched this 2 weeks ago, and Andrej, you explain about CRE.
Thanks, all. So, hola a todos. We'll have a hands-on demo on what CRE is. But before that, CRE stands for Chainlink Runtime Environment. Is our latest project that we launched 2 weeks ago at SmartCon in New York. And it's basically is an orchestrational layer that allows you to connect off-chain world with any type of blockchain and any smart contract on that blockchain. The most important thing for us as developers, is that we, with Chainlink Runtime Environment, develop workflows, which are files written in either Go or TypeScript that are off-chain code that is executing in a Chainlink DOM environment. Okay, so we're again developing off-chain code in either Go or TypeScript. We have SDKs, I'll show you that in a minute. That is essentially an off-chain piece of this infrastructure executed by Chainlink nodes, secured by Chainlink, the same DOMs that we use for price feed, CCP, all that you're already used to. And one of the capabilities is that you can write some callback on-chain, which is a link between real world and blockchains, okay? And today I'm gonna show you how we can develop those capabilities in TypeScript, but also if you want to do it in Go, I'll be at the booth. All of us, we're gonna help you with debugging, integration, whatever you need, okay? So, how many of you are familiar with what Chainlink is? Are you familiar with how price feeds work? Yeah. So for those who are not familiar with how price feed works, essentially there is a smart contract on blockchain which has the latest price written and the latest update. So we as developers just consume that data and then do something with that price. But important thing is how those prices get updated. So each single node in a DOM stands for Decentralized Oracle Network, have its own sources of price data. So they will constantly calculate new price data in a way that all of these nodes will make API calls to maybe DEXs, Google, like what's the current price of Bitcoin or whatever, like that's onto them. So fetch prices and then report their price to the rest of the network, and then the network will need to reach a consensus of what the actual price is. We use the median algorithm for that. And then the DOM will check by reading the latest updated price on-chain, so they will read the price data from smart contract to see whether the price has significantly changed, so we want to update it, or enough time has passed, so the price is stable, so we again push the update. And when that happened, DOM writes the update to smart, make it on-chain transactions and write the price update to smart contract. So you can see from what I explained here is that this is kind of like fixed system that we glue together for a specific purpose. But essentially, it consists of atomic actions, like fetch the price, reach a consensus, read something from chain, write something from chain. So we thought, what if we unglue them and give to you all of these capabilities to use it as the building blocks to build those workflows. As we said, again, workflow is piece of code written in either Go or TypeScript for now. It's mostly off-chain code that we're going to develop throughout this hackathon. And we are using these capabilities, atomic actions as a Lego box, as a building blocks to build workflows. And on this slide, we can see some example of capabilities like cron trigger, chain reader, which reads data from chain API fetch mentioned, chain write mentioned, and many more. And the list is really long, so I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But that's what capabilities essentially are. And then we basically, as I said, use those capabilities to develop workflow. Our project can have multiple workflows as well. It's totally up to you how we want to develop them. And then we deploy that to Chainlink to be executed on-chain, right? To be executed off-chain and connected to on-chain smart contracts. And essentially, those smart contracts can be anything. So any L1, any Ethereum L2, any private chain, any bank chain, any institutional chain, whatever. Like Chainlink is completely blockchain agnostic. So whenever you deploy this workflow, based on your config file, which I'll show you, it can connect to any chain that's written in, as long as you provided RPC URLs and those type of config details. And this is the list of all capabilities currently available if you want to take a picture, but there is the list obviously in the docs. So speaking of, the important thing is when we are developing workflows, we are essentially from the main function return an array of object which consists of two things, triggers and handlers. So triggers on the left side can be cron triggers. So we set up every 5 minutes or every 30 seconds or every first in a month, trigger this workflow, and after the trigger, the second thing, function, will be executed, right? So that's a handler. Can be API fetch. We hit some API endpoint, that's a trigger, do something. Can be blockchain event, so that's what we call log trigger. So whenever certain event from a certain smart contract on a certain blockchain, so you can listen to multiple blockchains, get emitted, like trade initiated or whatever, we're going to do something. And what we're going to do something in that code can be fetch external libraries, because in TypeScript you can npm install. In Go you can use standard library or whatever. You can read from chains, as we saw, like from multiple chains. You can API fetch, HTTP get, put, post requests. Reach a consensus, not only median, there's like several different consensuses available to you. We'll show you that as well. API write, which is a HTTP post, chain write, and more and more. So that essentially, in essence, is what Chainlink runtime environment is, and it's all secured by the same DONs we used to in the Chainlink platform in general. Do we have any questions before I proceed with the demo? Okay, perfect. You can ask questions at the end as well. So now I'm going to demo to you how you can use CRE. Okay. So first you will want to go to cre.chain.link. If you want to type down that URL or whatever you'll find in the docs. So again, the URL is cre.chain.link. Stands for Chainlink Runtime Environment. The very first thing is that you need to set up CLI. CLI is important because with CLI we compile these workflows to binaries. So again, doesn't matter whether it's written in TypeScript, Go, in future, Rust, Python, whatever. CLI is language agnostic, so it's one same tool that we can use to compile these workflows and also to deploy them. So that's why we need a CLI. To install the CLI, just run this command. So it will just run the installer on your machine. So it's the similar process how you install, for example, Foundry or stuff like that. So it's the same thing. After you run this command, I won't run it, but essentially what you will see if you type CRE version is that you will see, in my case, on my machine 101, but since Wednesday we have a new version, so you might see like 102, most likely. After you install CRE CLI, you'll just need to log in. So log in, if I type CRE login, automatic page will pop up. And because I'm already set up my account, I'm seeing this screen. But what you will see is basically a simple form where you enter your email or password, and that's it. Like login, sign up, like typical sign up. You just enter your email, password, and you will just have like a code sent to your email to confirm you're not a bot, and that's it. Like you're in. It's really simple to set up. Like I'm not gonna demo that. Once we're logged in, you can also like do CRE who am I, just to make sure well like with which account you're logged in. Once we're in, we can create our first project. So to do that, in a second tab, we can run the command called CRE init. So similar to Hardhat or Foundry, you know, like they have init commands, you will do CRE init. And it will walk you through the process. So for project name, we can do like ETHGlobal. We can select in which language you want to do. So let's do TypeScript, for example. It's like, I guess it's more popular, right? TypeScript? Okay, I see some you laughing. So we're going to do TypeScript. And then I suggest you to start with the hello world. This is the minimum boilerplate template just to see what's in it. But then you can also, we have a couple of other templates like custom data feed, which can be maybe useful for you if you want to tweak something and build in the interest of time. So for now, I'm going to do hello world. And for workflow, I'm going to do my workflow. I don't care. And there you go. Now, instead of following these steps, I'm going to open my code editor. So cursor ETHGlobal, and hopefully show you what's inside. So I'm going to zoom this a bit. So this is the project layout. Essentially, you have this .env file which you'll just put the private key if you want to do any on-chain writes or publishing the workflows and stuff. So for now, we're not going to do that. And for target, because the thing is that for this hackathon at least, if like with CRE, you can simulate execution of workflows locally, and that's really important. Like that's really useful when during development. But for this hackathon as well, if you just simulate it and run it as a test, it's a completely valid submission. We can obviously publish this for you because it's like still 2 weeks old project, so it's not like generally available to anyone to publish yet. But locally you can simulate. But we can talk about that in the boot. So what this CRE target basically means is that I'm going to use staging settings for local simulations. That's it. There's some YAML files that are config. We don't care about them at the moment for this simple workflow, but obviously we can help you with them. And there's like great docs on that as well. This directory, my workflow, is the actual workflow, the thing that we're building. And again, we can have multiple workflows. Each of these workflows are built on using the capabilities I explained earlier. And again, a couple of files over there. And because this is a TypeScript project, while I'm explaining this, I'm just gonna install dependencies. So I'm gonna cd into workflow directory and run bun install. So if you don't have bun, just install it. I'm gonna hit it, and that's it. Because this is a TypeScript project. For Go, you will most likely do go mode tidy, and for Rust in future is gonna be probably cargo install, and you know what I mean. But here we go. I already installed my dependencies. Cool. Let's close this up. So the main file, this is the code of the workflow, and this is what you're going to develop. So again, we're using the SDK to develop this off-chain code in either TypeScript or Go for now, and we're using it to connect, hopefully, with all of these different blockchains. Syntax, extremely simple. It's 30 lines of code. This is the main function, and most likely you won't change it. So this is the main, that's the function that's going to be called. That's cool. Init workflow is where you are creating all of these capabilities I mentioned. So this example, for now, this example, as we can see, are using only cron trigger. So actually, I'm going to ask you what this example does. But what here you're gonna do is you import CRE from CRE SDK and create some capability. This is the syntax for cron capability. For log trigger will be cron capabilities dot launch trigger. For HTTP, cron capabilities HTTP, etc. And what you need to return is array of these handlers. And if you remember this slide, you see array of handlers has two things. It has a trigger and the code, right? So trigger can be cron, API, log event, and then some action. So over here, what we're returning is array of object which has trigger and some function that's going to be executed. Okay, so schedule is coming from this config. This config over here at the very beginning is what's reflected in this JSON. So you see, I have scheduled here. If I do something like this, like API URL or whatever, and then if I do here API URL, sorry, this string will be whatever it's written here, okay? So this config object does that. So essentially, this schedule is a cron sequence, means that every 30 seconds, the code will be run. Whoop. So every 30 seconds, and here the trigger is every 30 seconds, we're gonna run this function, which essentially gonna just console log hello world and return hello world, doesn't do anything. But essentially, this is what CRE is. You're returning again array of these handlers. So you have a certain trigger, cron, event got emitted, whatever, and then you do something with the rest of the capabilities instead of obviously returning hello world. To run this, you're just gonna type CRE. So you're gonna make sure you're in the root of the project. So root of the project, because you can obviously run multiple workflows, and you type CRE workflow, simulate, and the path to the workflow, which is my workflow, right? And hopefully this will work right. What we are expecting here to happen is that we see the console log, which is hello world. Sorry about this. So this is the user log, hello world, workflow trigger. So this is just console log for us in a terminal, and this is what this workflow returned. It's just a string. Obviously, we can build on top of that, but this is the whole idea of CRE, right? So trigger, some action, that's it. Off-chain code written either in Go or TypeScript. If you have any questions, we're gonna go through them later. Speaking of CRE, if you want to really master it after this hackathon, we're going to organize a masterclass. We call them link labs, so you can just sign up at this, scanning this QR code. It's usually 1 or 2 day long events. This one I think is going to be 1 day long, when for a couple of hours you're just going to go through every single capability, all the syntactic sugar, all the use cases, demos and stuff. So it's going to be a really hands-on thing. Because I learned with CRE at least, you just need to go through them, like try, type, and like you will see, like it's a natural thing basically to you. Okay, so again, we have a bounty for CRE. We have also a bounty for other chaining services, and these are the other chaining services. So all the services that you're already familiar with when chaining, so price feeds, CCIP, data feeds, data streams, VRF, etc. I know that a lot of you are like hacked with automation and functions in the past. If you have those type of ideas, something with functions and automation, CRE is much better option for you, not just because of the bounty, but because CRE is much more flexible. Because like with automation, you have 3 types of triggers, and you need to have like a certain interfaces implemented, etc. Here it's much more flexible. Same with functions, because like you can, instead of JavaScript, you can write TypeScript, Go, etc., etc. Speaking of other chaining services, in the interest of time, you know that we developed this internal tool called Chaining Local, which is essentially a local simulator. In CRE, we have CRE Workflow Simulate, so simulator is built within the CRE. But for other services, this is this simulator, which, for example, for TCIP, it will take like less than a second to simulate the execution instead of 10 to 15 minutes. Why? Because you here have like, I don't know, 20, 30 hours maybe to build a project, and you know, like with challenges of testnets, latency, maybe Wi-Fi is slow, you need to get testnet funds from different faucets, etc. Maybe there was like a gas spike on Sepolia because all of you are deploying something. To avoid all of these issues, you can just, because essentially what we want as a developer is just to develop locally what we want to test it really quickly, rapidly iterate, and then once we are sure that our project is ready, then deploy to testnet, and as a next step, demo to the judges. So to enable you with this rapid prototyping, we developed the Chainlink Local, which you can use with Foundry, Hardhat, Remix, with all of these chains, forking. It supports everything, all the different Chainlink services besides CRE. This is the URL, this is the QR code, and it really is possible. I tested that. So without Wi-Fi connection, I was on a plane. I was able to do a simulation after I have like a project set up, like pull dependencies. So even if the Wi-Fi dies, Chainlink Local will help you with the development. And speaking of bounties and ideas and what you can build next for this hackathon, I'll pass it on to Harry.
Okay, thank you. So as you can see, once again, there are the bounties. Please take note. But just to close things up, I want to talk a bit more about CRE and kind of what's possible. And the way I think about CRE is I think of it as it's really a great way to orchestrate you doing stuff on-chain with anything that you need to do off-chain, whether it be having an AI agent trigger something to happen on-chain, whether it be doing something with stablecoins or X402 or any of that stuff. CRE is great because it allows you to combine what you want to do in smart contracts with basically the whole outside world, and to orchestrate that in kind of this middle layer that kind of acts as like this orchestration part in the middle. So if you're thinking of a use case that isn't just restricted to a blockchain, maybe it requires some external data. Maybe you're looking at some of the other partner sponsors here that are infrastructure related, you know, Circle, Filecoin, Coinbase, etc. They have services that all have APIs, for example. You could take CRE, use their services as well, together with Chainlink and various blockchains to have an end-to-end solution that solves for your use case, with CRE acting as that kind of orchestrating layer in the middle. We did some really cool examples when CRE went live recently. For example, you could build a prediction market where CRE essentially acts as the orchestration layer between the on-chain market and Google Gemini or some other AI or LLM to settle the prediction market, right? So you can use AI to settle prediction markets as an example. In fact, anytime you want to use AI or some kind of LLM, CRE is the perfect way to connect AI with a blockchain because of the HTTP capability, as Andre described. So yeah, I really encourage you to think outside the box. We provide you with this box of Legos to basically build whatever you want. We're very interested to see what kind of use cases come out of these. We're very happy to work through the use cases with you. So if you have some ideas or you're not 100% sure, please come speak to us at the booth just out here. We're happy to walk through the architecture with you and help you come to a solution that you think makes sense. Once again, here's a link to the presentation for those that don't have it. And yeah, thank you for joining us here today. And we're very excited to see what you build with Chainlink. Thank you.